Hello, my friends. Lori here with Interior Jewels. How are you? I am doing a project today where, quite honestly, I am challenging myself. I am decorating my front porch, and I wanted a swag for my front door. And I say challenge myself because I was going to use what I have on hand to create a swag. So this is, the mechanics of this, or the base, is very inexpensive and something that I happen to have on hand. And I have never done this before. So I'm actually creating a video while I do this in challenging myself to see how this works. I am starting with a pool noodle. And I have a garland of an evergreen garland, which is not one of those high-end ones, to be honest with you. This is a pretty sparsely, it's a sparse garland, but I'm gonna make it work. I also have a roll of poly mesh that I cut up into 15-inch lengths, and I have 15 pieces here. So in my mind, I said this is going to be my base. I do have pretty florals that I have on hand that I want to use, but I wanted to create a swag base to put those florals on. So join me in how we are going to make this happen. In using the pool noodle, I want to come up with a shape. I want to come up with a teardrop shape. So I am going to do this, and I am going to use zip ties. Another thing, I don't have the really long ones on hand, so I'm probably going to have to put 3 together to make this work. And that's fine because you're not going to see it. All of your mechanics at the end are hidden. So I've connected 3 of these. I'm gonna put this around this. Up a little bit so I make sure that this is secure, not going anywhere. And then why is this not, did I do this backwards? Why is this not staying? See how sometimes things happen that are a fail? This is not clicking. Did I do it backwards? Because you want to get this as tight as possible. This is not clicking. Oh, here we go. Now it's clicking. Okay, so I got that tight, and there is my shape. That is my teardrop shape, which my thought is I'm going to put this garland around this. I'm going to cut off the ends of this. And I only have 1 piece of this garland. My initial thought was I was literally going to wrap this around, go in and out, in and out, in and out. But you would use much more garland to do that. So what I'm going to do is literally outline this. I think I will have enough if I go around the edge of this, and you can see how I'm spreading out these tines. It's not really covering the top, but I'm hoping to put one around the outer edge here, and then I will come again and put it on the top. So how I'm going to attach this, I thought the simplest way is just to use paddle wire. Quick, it will secure it. I'm just going to wrap it around and tie off. Of course, I didn't cut that long enough. Twist it tightly so that it stays every so often. I'm just going to keep cutting lengths of this. And I know, and again, I'm like outlining the edge of this. I'm going to pick up the tines as I go. And I'm pulling the garland pretty tight too. I don't want any slack because I know that, or I'm hoping that I'm going to have just enough to make it around for as many times as I need to give me a full base here. That's my goal. Cut another one. This goes fairly quickly. Again, just cutting lengths of wire. I'm going to keep turning this, spreading out my tines as I go. Again, it's a sparse garland, but this is an example to show you, hopefully. Again, I'm going to be totally honest. I've never done this. But I was about to say that this is an example of showing you how you could make a beautiful swag or even a wreath with what you have on hand, with these few simple mechanics. Again, as I go, I'm going to keep, since I'm putting this to the back as far as possible, I'm having these tines come up. Because my goal is, when I have all of this on, I want this to be full as possible. It's really a sparse garland. But those tines are what I am going to put those mesh rolls in with. I would say I'm putting these wires probably every, I don't know, 8 to 10 inches, and it's going to hold it just fine. Cut them long enough so you don't have to play with them and try and pull them tight. And again, as I go, I'm straightening out these ties, fluffing them up so we can get as much fullness as possible. Cut another piece of wire. Sometimes I am really in the mood or desiring a swag as opposed to a wreath, which is what gave me the idea for this. And I didn't have any evergreen swags on hand. And since it's specifically for me and it's not something that I'm selling or putting in my shop, I said, I'm gonna find a way to make one with what I have on hand. So that is how I am challenging myself. And I thought that that would be a great thing to show all of you, to hope to encourage you, especially if you're just learning or you're just starting out with wreath making or swag making. You could start with inexpensive materials in practicing, where you don't have a big investment. I mean, I've been doing wreaths for a long time. But I do like experimenting sometimes with different. Okay, so now I got to the end of that, and this is what I have left over. So instead of just going right, well, let me see. I was gonna say I was gonna cut it and then just lay this over it. Let's see if it's long enough to do that. Let's see. Oh my goodness, like this was almost like meant to be. Things like this don't work out for me. I think that this is just long enough. So, I'm at the end. I am just going to bend this to come back up. Again, I'm gonna spread out these tines. And instead of going on the bottom where I was, I'm gonna go on the top of the noodle, hoping to get as much greenery coverage as possible. I'll probably be fluffing this out again when it's all finished, but I want to fluff it as I go to make sure that I'm not going to be holding down any of... Okay. Where's my wire under here? Wow. It's almost like it was pre-measured, and I swear it wasn't. Because I was thinking in my head, if it's not big enough, what am I going to fill in with? So again, I'm just going to go around. Twist them tight so that again, put that in. And I'm just going to keep tracing the outline or the shape of this teardrop. And imagine if this were a fuller piece of, I don't even know where this piece of garland came from. But if this were a full garland, I probably wouldn't have to do 2 passes like this. Could probably just do 1 and it would be full. So keep that in mind. I think you could even get decent garlands like that at Walmart. I have no idea where this came from. It was in my stash, sitting there forever. Sometimes I buy things like this because I just want little tines of greenery that I will cut off, whether I am putting them in arrangements or, I don't know, using them for something. Because this is a little chintzy to use itself. But that lends to me challenging myself. Just a little bit more for me to get all the way around this. I just keep tying it off and then cutting off the extra length of wire so that I don't stab or poke myself. Keep turning it. You see what I mean, that the tines are smushed down, so you do have to fluff it out as you're going so that you don't wire those tines down. We want them standing up to give us the most fullness as possible. Piece of wire here. And I do think that wire is the easiest way to do this. Now, when it comes time to adding your florals or any picks that you may want to put in this, you can stick them directly into the pool noodle. you know, put some glue on them, stick them into the pool noodle. The pool noodle is a great surface. It sort of takes the place of floral foam if you were making an arrangement. I'm just continuing to, it's coming up a little bit short, but that's okay. We're gonna make it work because I'm gonna be filling this in with more greenery. I just needed a base that was giving me my shape of a swag. 2 more pieces of wire and then I'm done. Pulling it as tight as you can and twist, 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 and cut off the excess. 1 more and we are done. And then we will see what we have. I should probably just, I have this wire hook on the end of it. I was gonna say it would be too thick to cut, but I'm cutting that off so that doesn't add bulk in here. I don't need that. Okay, tie this piece off. The extra off, and here's what we have. So you can see, and again, this has a lot of bare spaces, but we are going to add. I'm going to start next with the mesh, because to me the mesh becomes a great filler. I'm gonna pull my wreath stand close to me because I just find it easier to work on. Can you see it? Yes. So again, I said I had 15 pieces of mesh. This is the poly burlap mesh. And what I do, see how it naturally curls on itself? I do cruffles. I will roll in the sides and then just walk them together. So that is the shape that you get. And all I'm going to do is insert them by using the tines of the greenery. I happen to have, I was wishing that I had a burlap, you know, color, a natural burlap color. I didn't. I was serious when I said I'm creating this using exactly what I have on hand. So whatever I have is what I'm using. But I thought greenery with the green of the, you know, this is going to be a summer floral swag. And greenery is fine. So I said, I'm okay with using greenery. I'm going to try and get them on the inside here, so I am covering this. I like to spread them out so I know that I'm spread, because again, I only have 15. So in the end, whatever I have is going to have to work. And this goes really quickly when you add this mesh. You see what I mean? Adding it on the inside there, because it fills that void in the middle. Just want to make sure that you have a good view. hard for me to see from this view, but we're gonna make it work. I'm gonna make sure that I put one on the bottom here. To give me my shape, that teardrop shape. You know, I do have some down here too with this light green if I needed more. All right, let me not even get to that part yet. I might need some more. Out there. Let's put one. And see how mesh just fills it in instantly? This is a great product to use as a filler. Working on grapevines is my favorite, but I've even used mesh on grapevine. And I use the same exact method. I just put in, what do you call them, pipe cleaners within the grapevine wreath. And I always like doing a half moon design, so I will put my ties in there and then just attach this. And my greenery and florals go over it, and it becomes a very full wreath. I do believe that I have a video on here showing how I did that. You may want to go back and look at it. And I do ask, please, if you're interested in this, you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my page. That really helps me out in being able to reach more people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just trying to keep how many I have here. Side. On this side, need some on the bottom here. Over here, I'm going to try and fill in this center and then see what we have. Two more left. Put one there so that we can, and this is a very easy way of rolling this mesh. And you can see how it camouflaged the pool noodle. You can still see a little bit of it, but my next step is going to be adding my greenery. That was all 15 pieces. And see how that really filled that up? So now I have my glue gun hot. I want to make sure that you're really able to see this. Okay. I do have a garland here. I love using garlands to be able to cut into pieces. So that is one thing that I took out and put aside. I always just pull some things and work with them from there. I do have some eucalyptus. And I have ficus. I love using ficus because this is a great stem to cut down into pieces. The shape is beautiful, and you can use this to actually create the shape of whatever it is you're working on, whether it's a wreath, whether it's a swag. So I even have some cut up pieces here from another project, and I'm just gonna start putting these in to show you how I work with the shape in this. I just put some glue on, and I'm going to glue it into where the mesh is. I'm gonna start with the ones that I have already cut. And you could just see what a pretty shape they are. And these are really inexpensive. You can get these from anywhere. Michael's, Hobby Lobby. And again, I like to go around the edge because I'm sort of creating my shape here. Hold it there for a second to make sure the glue takes. Okay, do I have any more cut up? Here's one. And you can see each one of these in cutting up ficus usually has 3 leaves. See, 3 leaves on this piece I'm gonna cut off, and then I have 3 leaves on that piece. The entire bush is made up of that. So each piece that you cut off can have 3 pieces. So it becomes very, very consistent in my design, and it helps me balance it out. Wouldn't be that I have so much on one side, not another side. Each piece that I put in has 3 leaves. And I'm just gonna go all around the outside of this. Just keep going. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video than normal because I really started from scratch with this. I wanted to be able to show you how to start with that pool noodle, how to shape it, how to secure it, how to add the garlands, and give you some tips as we went along, such as if you had a fuller piece of garland, you would have had an easier time than I have in trying to make it full and fit. But it also shows you, if like me, you only have a certain something on hands, how can we make it work? Not going to worry about that. I'm going to continue with my pieces of ficus going all around the edge. I'm going to cut off each individual branch. Let me cut off this tag. As I said, these are readily available and they're inexpensive. It's a great base or shape making greenery. You can see I cut off one branch, and now I am going to cut off these individual pieces, which are always groups of 3. Which is another reason why I love it. And if I have to stick them in the pool noodle, I can stick them in the pool noodle as well. They go so easily. into the pool noodle, or I'm gluing them onto that mesh. Keep going here. Let me know in the comments if you are all wreath makers or you're just learning. What is your favorite kind of thing to work on? Is it more wreaths? Do you like doing swags? And feel free to ask me any questions. I always go back and look at the videos afterwards, and I will answer the questions. Keep cutting off my leaves here. I mean, 2 stems, 2 full stems like this go a long way once you cut it into the individual pieces like this. Couple more around the top. One more over there. Just going to stand back and look and see where I need to add in a few more, just for my shape here. And that was only with 1 stem and a couple of straggler pieces that I had left over from another project. Let me add one over here. More tags. So let me stop there and show you up close how I went all around the border with these leaves. It's so hard to look at the camera and realize. So now I'm gonna move into the center a little bit more and add here. I have 1 more full bush of this. I'm gonna go sort of like I did with the greenery. I went on the outside edge. Now I'm gonna go a little bit on the inside. And you can see, like I said, with the ficus, there's 3 stems to the ficus. I cut off each stem, and then each individual one, I cut off the 3s. 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 4 just on this. So that's why I always say that this goes far. Love my ficus. So we're going to go a little bit to the inside now. And I am sticking these right into pool noodle. Okay, there goes that stem. I'm going to cut off this one, and this has 4 pieces as well. This is the green ficus. This also, it comes in different colors. One of the other green ones is the variegated, which has the white in it, which is also very pretty. But it comes in colors too. I've seen it in purple, pretty mauve color. So yeah, it does come in different colors. Keep going up. And then I am going to use this garland that I showed you that I have. To fill in again. And then before I get too much more into the project, what I want to do is put my bow on. I like to get my bow in so that I decide where I want that to go and that I wouldn't be covering any greenery or florals, because then I build my florals around my bow so that everything gets to stand out and not be hidden or covered. You don't want to waste any product with putting it in there and then covering it up. A few more pieces of this. And it always goes a long way. Glue strings, how many more? 3 more. It's hard sometimes with this angle that I'm working at. I need to really stand back further to be able to see this, and I hope that you can see it well. But when I do that, I have a hard time. And I like working with my project up as opposed to on my table. My table is very high, which I did purposely when I made it because I built it. I didn't want to have to bend over to hurt my back. So I always prefer working with my project on this stand that I made myself. Okay, so now we have all the ficus in. You can see how this is starting to come together. Let's get rid of this, and little scraps here. And on to the next which is this pretty greenery that has these white specks in it. I don't know what this is called. I do believe that this was from Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to cut this off in sections. And maybe I can wispily have this hanging out. Yes. Love it. Again, I never know what the plan is. Let's just go with it. You know, all of these are on wire stems, so you can easily manipulate them to whatever shape that you want them to go in. And sometimes you can get, you know, as opposed to just buying a bush of greenery or florals, sometimes you can get great deals on garlands. So always keep that in mind when you're looking for new items. Always go down the garland area. They have garland with the florals on them, garland with the greeneries on them, the evergreen. Always look at the garlands. Very often I buy the garlands and I cut them apart into pieces. Oh, this is so pretty. I love this. I've never used this before. Oh, this is put together with some metal rings here. Let me cut these off. Because it has a few different stems. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. This on the bottom. And see, adding a piece on the bottom to really elongate the piece and accentuate the teardrop shape that I was going for. I am loving this garland. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This covers a lot of real estate too, I have to say. I like to put a lot of greenery in my projects, and when I do that, I like to use a variety of greenery for different textures, colors, and I just think that it, in the end, it looks more high-end, lush. Even in my arrangements, I always like to use as many kind of great. You could do a totally monochromatic project that's not colorful, even if it's just all greenery, but use all different types of greenery. And by that, I mean texture, shape of leaves, color, and it makes the project so much more interesting and appealing. See, when I'm working on something that I've never done before and I see it coming together, I get really excited. I'm like, oh, love the way this is coming. Oh, there's a lot of metal rings holding multiple stems of this together. Let's just get those off. Let's see what I have here. And I just cut into one piece, or multiple pieces, the whole garland. And you see how as I added layer upon layer, you cannot tell that there was a void in the middle now. that's all being covered. Cover your mechanics. Getting a few little glue burns here. Let me use the bigger one. Couple more pieces that I'm going to cut off, and I'll be done with this. Sticking up at the top here. And then, before I go any further, I am going to make my bow. Because I'd like my bow to be kind of large. In a second, I'm going to get this one in where I want to get this. Please hold. Okay, just want to make sure that he's in there. Secure. One last little piece, which I think I'll put over here. I always say, trust the process as you're putting something like this together. In the beginning, it looks like, oh my goodness, what the heck are you doing? And look at how full and pretty that has become. All right, next, I am going to do my bow. I do have my colors going here, which are black and white and this pretty peach color, because these are the florals that I have, which happen to go with what I've decorated my porch with and my live flowers that I have planted. So I'm sort of coordinating everything. Little pinkish, peachy. Oh, I realized I did have one more stem of ficus, but I don't think I need it. Hold on to that until the end. So what I want to do, I don't want to put these on here and then cover them with my bow. So I want to have my bow on properly and then be able to go around with my florals. So I am going to make my bow. I also have some of this great eucalyptus that I'm going to add at the ends. Another green filler. Remember, another color, shade, texture, size of leaves. They're all different from what's on there. And see how that green mesh just melded in with the greenery. I didn't do it to really be able to have the mesh be a focal point, because this is not a quote-unquote mesh project, but I use it more for a filler, and it just melds in with what is in the background. And the pool noodle was blue. You can't see any of that blue already, and we're not even done. So how easy was that? I have my zip tie, which is how I'm going to secure my bow. And I am just going to get started on my bow. I think I want long tails on this because I may billow this down. So I'm gonna make this bigger than what, always better to make bigger when you're starting out and you can cut it at the ends. You can't do the opposite. I make my loops, I always hold it up to the project to make sure that it is the size that I need, and I think that that is good. So that's the size loop I'm gonna go with, which is, it always winds up being a 6 or 7 inch loop. I'm just gonna quickly put this together. I want more of a vertical bow with those long tails hanging down. And I'm going, instead of keep making loops, I'm going to cut so I have more tails in this project as well, because that sort of fills it in. Again, my goal with this was a little bit different in the ordinary wreaths that I do, that I design for sale. But as I said when I started out, I was challenging myself to work with exactly what I had, which would not be the products that I would be using if this was a product I was selling. So it was a personal challenge to me, and I'm hoping that is inspirational to some of you to just work with what you have on hand. It's a great way when you're starting out to practice, to learn, or like me, you want to make it for yourself. Okay. Now I'm going to add some of this pretty peach color. Very summery, and this is the color that I have going on outside. For any of you that struggle making bows, I'm going to put a link in the comments. We have a workshop coming up that is everything bows. It's going to be ribbon bows, fabric bows, not only how to make them, but if you are a maker and you're looking to learn how to do bows to put on your creations, we will give you ideas on how to market them, how to sell them. If you're someone that just wants to learn how to make a bow for yourself, whether it's to use for home decor, to put on gifts, we are having a workshop. Would love to see you in there. I will put the link in the description of this video. Now see how layered pretty? And I'm also going to use another black and white. This is my all-time favorite ribbon. This black and white. I just love a black and white combo, no matter what. To me, it is classic. It is elegant. It goes with everything. And no matter what I'm doing, even if I am decorating a home, I always put touches of black. I just love black. All right, I'm gonna cut that. And I'm gonna end with a little bit of peach. Just gonna make a loop of that. Whoop. A simple, elegant bow. I'm going to tie this off with a zip tie. Make sure it's in the middle. You don't want to end up with... Now, before I pull that all the way tight, I am going to attach that to this swag with wire. I like using wire in things like this because normally if I was doing a grapevine wreath, I would put another zip tie in here and that's how I would attach it to my grapevine wreath. But if I did this on this piece, it would suck the bow in and then you wouldn't see the big pretty loops. It would be sucked into all of the product that's already on here. So by using wire, I can keep the bow raised to the top of the design. So let me put this in here. Because this is what I'm gonna attach this with. Once I have that wire in there, then I can pull my zip tie tight. Cut off my extra. Put that aside for a minute. I'm going to cut my tails and continue to fluff this when I get it on, but I just want to fluff it a little bit and figure out exactly. Yeah, I think I want that. See what I mean with, so I'm gonna take this off here just for a minute to make this a little bit easier for myself so I can figure out how I'm getting this on here. Needs to do it on this side so I can see what I'm doing. Get my big fingers in there. Okay, I got one end. Now I want to go through the middle. And once I meet that, I can tie this up. See, but now, wait, watch the bow. See how it's going in and out? It's allowing me to pull the pressure of the wire as much as I need it. And again, I don't want my bow to sink all the way into this design. I sort of want it to be prominent and lay on top. So I am not going to pull this tight. So that's why in projects like this, I always use wire instead of a zip tie. Or you could use pipe cleaners as well. You can get the same effect with pipe cleaners. Oh, geez. It's because I didn't have my glasses on. Hold on, it didn't take. Okay, now I got it. Okay. Now what I want to do, see, now I will fluff this. I will also, nah, I'll wait till it's, I kind of like that I have it on one side. So now what I can do is billow these ribbons, let them go a little loosey-goosey here so I can see all three. And then I will go like this, scrunch them in, and I'm gonna cut off another piece of wire, and I'm going to attach that down here. Cut off wire, make it long enough so you can get it to the back. Get this in half, put this around this, make sure that I have this nicely. I'm going to put it around the ribbon. I'm going to give it one twist. And then I'm going to feed it through the back. So let me see where we're working here. There's one. And where can I go with the next? And see what I mean? That the bow will hide If I had put all of my florals in, I could have potentially been hiding them. And I want to spotlight everything that I'm putting into the project. So I don't want to cover my bow. I certainly don't want to cover my florals. I'm pulling this. You can see the ends of that tail. See, I'm pulling this. I get to decide the tension if I'm using wire or pipe cleaners, as opposed to a zip tie. You wouldn't be able to do that. Put this off. Okay, now, see what I mean? This is too high for me to work on up here, so I always like having this on my stand. Now, I can fluff this. Fluff my bow properly, and I'm going to dovetail my tails. I mean, a gorgeous bow just finishes off a piece. I'm a little ribbon obsessed. Anyone else? Love my ribbons. All right, run your fingers down it so that these I just love a black and white design. Just love it. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this a little bit towards me so I can see. And hopefully you can see as well. We are going to add these gorgeous florals. Now they have greenery on them. They are pushes. Sometimes I decide to take the leaves off. I'm going to leave them on these because I want as much fullness as I could possibly get in this. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, this is all that I have, so I want to make sure that these are placed and that they are balanced, in that I can have the design look cohesive. It's one of the challenges of working with what you have, and that's what I meant that I was challenging myself. If I was working on a wreath that I'm selling, I'm the type of person that just keeps adding. I'll stand back and say, oh, wouldn't this look pretty? Wouldn't they? This is exactly what I have to make this project, and I'm going to make it work. So it's not that I could keep adding and adding. I don't have any more of these. This is exactly what I have to work with, and I'm going to make it work. This has some greenery on it. We will use that piece as well. This is one of those textural pieces, and I also have this bush too that I'll cut these off in each, but this is in here too. I don't know if I'll use that. I just definitely want all of these floral blooms. We will see. Okay. Look, and the color of this is just gorgeous. That the peachy and the pink in it. So pretty. I love it. I'm leaving my stems long, and these, they go through that mesh too, which really grabs onto the stems that I'm putting in as I'm gluing them. Put one down there. Or if I need to get them into the pool noodle, I can do that as well. I'm gonna add one onto this side. Ow! Gosh, just burnt myself again. Damn. Ouch. Don't do that. Burns are not fun. Oof. Yikes, that hurt. I just need to turn this toward me once. All right, I want something coming out of next to this bow, so I'm gonna put this up here. There we go. Now, what do I have left? I have these three. So I'm gonna put one there, and one down there. Okay. Always good to go over the number of items that you have and where you're trying to place them, so that in the end you have a cohesive look. I'm gonna do this one over there. I've left some of these stems long so I can get them through all of this and right into the pool noodle, which is perfect. And I have one more. Where do we want him? I think we'll go above the bow. So I'm going to bend him a little bit because I want him facing forward instead of up, that I wouldn't be able to see the bloom as well. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to use these because I just love the texture of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 of them. And I also have those eucalyptus that I'm going to use. Stick these in around the side. Stick one up top. And this wound up being a very substantial piece. I mean, it's large, which I love. I'm all about go big or go home. Love me some large pieces. All right, now I'll add one on the bottom. And I have these pieces. You know what? I'm gonna add them around the bow. This was on that floral bush that are not actually florals. They're more leafy kind of things. to make sure that I get it pushed all the way in there. There. And I'll do one on the other side as well. Bow. Now, the last thing that I want to add is this eucalyptus. Again, it's a different shape, it's a different texture, it's a different color, it's a different size. I think more than anything, I really like and pay attention to adding different textures. To me, that's what makes a design pop, is different textures. It keeps your eye moving around a piece. It makes it more interesting. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I just want to make sure that whatever I add, I can balance out. I'm going to add a piece over there. And then I think that this piece is going to be done. What do you think? I really, when starting something and you get like a little idea or visual in your head, but you have no idea how it's really going to turn out. And sometimes when you're working on pieces, what you thought may work doesn't work, so you sort of change it up as you're going along. It's the beauty of creating. And somehow it just all works out. And it's a beautiful thing. My last piece, I think we're going to put on the side over there. And then fluff this up. And what do you think? I'm going to move this back so perhaps you can see this a little bit better. And you can get an idea of it next to me, the size of this, but it really came out beautiful. And you would never know that a blue pool noodle is under here, right? I'm gonna go hang this on my door, and I will be taking a picture, and that's gonna be the thumbnail for this video that I hope you enjoy. I hope it inspires you to use what you have on hand to create a project that you'll love and maybe you want to put on your front door. So I do hope that you enjoy. Please again, subscribe to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up. And if you're interested in bow making, I'm going to put the link for our workshop that's coming up really quickly, and seats are going, to show you all things bows. It's going to be an amazing workshop. So feel free to ask any questions about what we made here, our bow class, me personally, and I'm happy to answer them. Thanks so much for watching, and enjoy your day.